Is up YouTube. All right. So this one, we're going to talk about two types of software developers and how they kind of play into the future of software engineering and what I think is going to happen. Now, I first want to say that anyone I talk about in this video has been highly influential to me and has taught me a lot about being a software engineer. So this is by no means a dig at anyone. This is just what I've noticed as a pattern that's a reoccurring thing in the industry. And I just kind of want to go over why I think it matters and the people that are going to really succeed and who's going to struggle. So I also want to mention I've been both engineers. I've done both of these paths and I transitioned at the same time as some of these people. And I believe that at this time with AI and where it's going, there's only one group that's going to thrive. And if you fit into the other, then you're really going to struggle. And it's not to say that you're a bad engineer. It's just the why of why you're writing code and why you're engineering these things in the first place. And the unfortunate truth is that if using these tools feels like it's taking away something from you, then that's a signal. And it might even be telling you something about job security in the future. So I hope you find this video useful and let's get started. What I want to talk about first is the two types of developers and where some people sit on that chart and where I personally sit myself. So this might give you a good overview of where you are at and kind of the things you need to think about if you want to sort of progress in this industry. So the first is our traditional software engineer, where the focus was on refining the process to build something. It wasn't so much that the end product was the goal. It was the enjoyment of writing code and building stuff and being in the trenches, doing the thing. The product you built was just a bonus. That was the gratification that you had done a job well. So we call this the process engineer. Then we have what is now being referred to as a product engineer, where your core goal is the product. It has nothing to do with the process. And by all means, a lot of people are just vibe coding their way to a product. And that's completely off topic. That's something for another video. This is how to be this is the idea of being a product engineer rather than a process engineer. Yeah, I think there's only one that thrives in the future. It's not to say that you can't have fun and enjoy the experience of being the first. If you're a process engineer, then I think there is definitely some potential there. If you enjoy that, that's the key thing. If you enjoy writing code, then by all means, that should be what you focus on. But if your goal is to stay employed and to keep your job and to move forward and keep up with the industry, then I truly think that this is the direction we're going to be going. Okay, so we're going to take a look at some people that I think have been influential in and have had this sort of pivotal change or are going through this pivotal change right now. And some people that aren't, some people that are they enjoy the code, they enjoy the process. And I think that has pushed them down a path of a confirmation bias in the direction that these tools are not good, even though they get better and better every day. And the things you can do with these tools is more about your efficiencies as an engineer. And if any of these guys watch this, great. But I want to tell them, like, hey, it's not the AI slop thing is not an AI slop thing. It's the framework they have in place that has caused it to be a slop thing. So we all know a lot of these people. Some of them have been very influential on my career coming up in the industry, especially people like Linus and Dave Farley. They're people I have looked up to. And then we have a range of like popular people and other people that I think have made this transition that I think people can take away a lot of experience from. Like people like Theo gets a lot of hate, but he's a very smart engineer and he's pivoted into this product as a skill rather than process as the skill. And similarly for like Cody and the Claude Code guy, like these guys all have the skill and they understand how this code needs to be done and how to structure a project well. And so when I think that some of these guys see coding as solved or the future is like going to be completely different, it's because they understand that these things have changed and they can build it so much more efficiently. It's really because AI is a 10x multiplier, and that's not just coding, it's everything that you do. So if you start with a bad implementation, it's going to become a 10x worse implementation. And then we have people that kind of sit on the other side. Like Dave Farley is someone that has a lot of really insightful educational content. And I think he personally loves to code. Primogen loves to code. I think he's like a very good example of someone that I think would prefer to be sitting there in Vim, doing the keystrokes, doing the process. And the end goal is is not to build any product. It's the process of building the product that he really enjoys. And there's some other people like Fireship has expressed that he loves to code. He's kind of coming over this point right now where he's kind of crossing this line. And I think Linus is the same. He's kind of seen the light. He's built a few things and he's slowly moving over to this side of the spectrum. And I think that that's kind of where things are going. I've seen like Fireship, I think he's more being forced into this side of the spectrum because he understands that people on this side are gonna really struggle. And it's not to say they're going to struggle with code; they're just going to struggle with the future. Yeah, and I always think back to like how older people use phones and stuff now. Like they didn't learn at the start, and as phones got more and more complicated, they just didn't bother to continue because of everything that they hadn't learned at the start. And again, I just want to reiterate, like these guys, they're all really, really smart. They're all like genuinely some of the smartest people I know. Don't want to discount any of that. Thank you guys for anything you guys have taught me. Okay, now we're going to talk about the actual mentality and what happens with this. So I think something that's critical is that AI isn't automating the boring parts. It's actually taking away the parts that these kinds of people love the most. And I get it. Like I still like to write code. Like I love to craft things. Every line being intentional is completely valid. We look for patterns. We look for patterns that follow clean code, that we look for nice file structures. We look for these things that historically have given us a good feeling inside. That's the core of a process engineer. The process itself is where you get joy from. A product engineer is, your goal is just to finish that thing. You don't care what's in the box. You just want the product to be finished. And the code is the vehicle to get you there. Finishing the product is the joy. And these tools give you that ability to ship so much faster. And it's outcome over elegance. So yeah, having perfectly structured clean code might become a less important thing over time because the goal is the outcome. I will talk about it a bit more later, but don't discount that we understand the process, and that's what makes us good product engineers. Without the processing skill, you'd just be a vibe coder, and there's a lot of vibe coded slop, and that's not what we are. We are product engineers. We understand the process. We just build the product around our knowledge. And ultimately, it just means that product engineer is like a faster path to what matters. A process engineer feels threatened by what they love the most being taken away. So that's, I think, why we see a lot of negativity. Like we're seeing massive leaps in what these models can do and the things that they can build. And I don't get the negativity around that. I don't get these people are just vibe coding with 13 terminals open either, but I feel like it's a threat to them. Their livelihood of what they enjoy the most is being taken away. And respectfully, I would feel the same way if I was still in that mindset. And a little bit about the risk again, like AI is just absorbing everything that this process engineer loves. They're no longer writing every line of code. The craft is gone. The patterns and clean code are still there. And that's something that's, again, it's so critical. Like if you don't have the correct patterns, then you're building a block that's unstable, and you keep building on that block, it's going to fall. So the process itself is still really important. But a lot of the keyboard strokes and the actual code itself is being taken away. And of course, that comes with natural resistance. People don't like what they enjoy being taken away. So we're seeing a lot of hate coming from being jealous or potentially the worry that thing's going to go away. I want to just quickly talk about where the inflection point was for me. I've worked in some big companies. I've built multiple SaaS products. I've worked on smaller teams. Like I've been a solo developer. I now have engineers that work for me. Like writing code with the process in mind was my thing. I loved that idea. I loved finding new patterns I could try and implement and optimize. And the code was the process for me. And again, the product was just the gratification at the end of the spike or at the end of the sprint that I could build the thing. I did feel a little bit of resistance to AI. But this was back when it wasn't very good. It was things like GitHub Copilot, where it just wasn't great at most things. And the moment for me was actually when I needed to build something for myself. It started as just a small product that I thought would be great for my use case. The first one didn't work at all. Like it was terrible. I had to do it 3 or 4 times before I was happy with it. But that taught me that you can't depend on these tools completely. And if you just have this mindset without this mindset first, it's going to be a lot harder for you to reach your goals. So it took a few iterations. I implemented different things every time and learnt and tried to grow from each version. And in the end, I got to a point where I could build things much faster, much more efficiently. And there's now very little code that I actually need to look at because I've structured the projects in a way that I can trust a lot more. Again, these things are pattern machines. So if I have the patterns in place, it's going to implement those for me. And then I have the other tools in place that ensure that my 10x improvement in my development flow doesn't bottleneck at code review or deployment or marketing. So the product first mindset came naturally over the iterations of solving my own problem. So the mindset shift actually happened quite naturally for me. It was kind of like I started doing more and more with these tools and seeing how far it could go and seeing its shortcomings. And now we're kind of at a point where its shortcomings are becoming less and less, and I can give it more bigger tasks and kind of just see how it goes. And we're so early in this industry, but it's showing what the future is. My point of this slide was just build things for yourself. Like if you're not sure, think of a tool that you could use that you're maybe paying $5-10 a month for, that you think you could build in a weekend with AI, and take your process knowledge of good architecture, good design choices, and implement that to build something for yourself that you don't actually sell. Just build it for you. You're going to find that it's going to kind of have you thinking a little bit differently about this. Again, like just build for yourself. Like don't think about what you wrote. Is it the latest Rust tool? Just think about, does it work and does it do the thing well that you want it to do? If that's what you're thinking about, then you can think about things like, is this maintainable? Does this scale? Again, the mind shift should happen naturally. You don't have to force it. If you don't have anything in your personal projects, like don't be afraid to like take something in your day job and be like, oh, I could build a tool that solves this. Tell them like, hey, I built this thing. Can we implement it? Because you're going to be surprised, and that's going to gratify that you've done something useful by being a product engineer. What this does in the future is once you've got this product engineering mindset, it allows you to compound this advantage. Like every new tool is going to be a level up for your skills. And in the next video, we're going to talk about the 10x developer and the AI experience a bit more. But like, I just want to ensure that you understand that the compound effect here is going to make you an industry leader. It's going to give you the ability to stay hired, to keep your job, to help others build some cool stuff in the future. And again, the adoption will come naturally because you've overcome the biggest part, which is the mindset of being a product engineer. Kind of the brutal truth of this is like AI didn't take the process away. It just removes the last excuse not to build something. You're going to feel at the start, you're going to feel like you've lost the part of you that you enjoyed. If you feel like you're losing something, then continue writing code. Like, again, that's not what this is about. Do what you enjoy. Just understand that you're going to get more doors opening if you become more of the product engineer. I'm seeing it every day. Like the jobs I'm seeing online, the contracts I'm getting for my team, like they're all product engineering based, they're architectural based, and there's very few jobs these days that are actually offering like hands-on coding roles. The ones that are all the same companies that are now firing 5,000, 6,000 people every few months. So if work is your primary concern, then this mind shift is going to be critical. And again, I'm never going to discount the process. If you don't have that, you need to go back to the fundamentals and you need to learn a lot about software as a start. There's quite a few jobs that I have that are complete refactors of vibe coded apps because they have no security. They're just poorly implemented applications from someone that doesn't understand the process. And again, I just touched on this, like what if we don't know the process first? Well, that's the real question. You need to learn that. And we're going to talk about that more in the next video. This part can't be discounted. Like if you don't know this, then you're not going to succeed as a software engineer because you don't know the actual processes of an engineer. If this is you, then I'm going to have a couple of videos coming up of like how you can use AI to help you learn more about software, but it's going to be a little bit of doing your time in the trenches and building things that break and making mistakes. And you are going to have to actually read code if you want to become an engineer. You can build things and not be an engineer, but at some point you're going to hit a roadblock, and those roadblocks are going to require an engineer to fix them. So yeah, if you want to see more of that, just hit the subscribe button because I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So that would be great. Just remember, like code is only one part of the job. The real 10x multiplier comes from everything else. And we're going to talk about that in the future. There was never a limit of like how much code you could output. Someone that's using AI and using it to 10x their workflow understands that code is only one part of that multiplier. And if you don't have the same implementations for everything else you do, it's actually going to be a negative multiplier. So you need to think about that, and that's what the next video is about. We're going to talk about the other costs of only 10x multiplying your code and what else you need to think about. So yeah, thanks for watching.